resonance technique, MSRT. This is one of the advanced techniques that we have been using in Vivekananda Kendra Yoga Research Foundation to deal with all the 5 koshas, the 5 layers of our existence, call it 5 bodies. We have different techniques. To deal with the Annamaya kosha, we use the physical exercises, the loosening practices, the Shithilikarana Vyayama, Yogasanas, the yogic postures, the Kriyas, the cleansing techniques, and the cyclic meditation to go deeper and to effect deep relaxation at the body level and slowly move towards the pranic layer. Beyond this physical body, we have the pranic body called as the vital body made out of prana. And to bring the balance of pranic body, we use the breathing practices, the kriyas, sectional breathing, the pranayama, and the advanced technique is the pranic energization technique or the PET. Much expansive and wider than pranamaya kosha is manomaya kosha, the astral body, as it's often called, made out of the mind stuff. And to deal with the mind and to bring control and mastery over the mind and emotions, we use the dharana, dhyana, samadhi, as we call, the focusing, the meditation, and to get into the superconscious state, the Antaranga Yoga of Patanjali. And to deal with our emotions, we use the Bhakti Yoga, the science of emotion culture, mastering our emotions. And the advanced techniques that we use here, mastering the emotions technique, MEMT, mind imagery technique, MIRT, mind sound resonance technique, MSRT. Then comes Vijnanamaya kosha, much subtler, much wider, more pervasive than the Manomaya kosha. And this is the sheath of wisdom, the body of Vijnana. And here the knowledge is supreme. If you tune to this level, we have the complete knowledge of the whole creation, the past, present, and the future, and almost a stage of perfection, a level of consciousness which the highest of the yogis almost reach. And in Vijnanamaya kosha, we use the techniques of understanding, analysis, through lectures, through yogic counseling methodology. And the subtle technique we use, the advanced technique that we use, is called as the Vijnana Sadhana Kaushala, or in short, VSAK, V-I-S-A-K. Then the most pervasive, all pervasive almost, which is the Anandamaya kosha, the body of bliss, the sheath of bliss, the layer of bliss. Here we are just bliss embodied. Hardly any differences have come, and we are all one in this phase of Ananda, in this phase of Anandamaya kosha, in the shade of bliss. Because it is transcendental, no differences have arisen yet, and we are all one. That is the Anandamaya kosha. Normally, to bring this Ananda into our lives, we have the working in blissful awareness, as has been postulated and emphasized in Bhagavad Gita, Yogastha kuru karmani sanghan tyaktva dhananjaya. It is the yogastha hokar kaam karna. It is to completely tune ourselves to this yoga sthiti or ananda sthiti or the state of transcendence and do the activities. That is yogastaha kuru karmani. and to bring that bliss into our lives and spread in day-to-day life is to improve the quality of life, is to bring bliss into our lives. That is the Anandamaya Kosha operation. And through the Karma Yoga modules that we use, we bring that bliss into action. And the advanced technique of yoga we use at this level is called Anandamruta Sinchana, ANAMS. And today we are going to learn and understand the technique of mind sound resonance technique, MSRT. Well, there are three terms: mind, sound, and resonance. What is mind? According to modern science, people for long have been believing that the mind is nothing but functioning of the brain cells, and the thinking goes on. If it goes on the left side, it's the verbal mode, the logical brain. If it goes on the right side, it is the emotional, intuitive brain. And this has been our understanding for long. But in recent years, there has been tremendous research and progress in brain research, and people have started believing that there is something beyond mere functioning of the brain cells. Call it mind, call it consciousness, and whatnot. We are in the progress of achieving or understanding or getting in-depth knowledge about this separate entity, which is extremely creative. It is a sort of consciousness which can change the function of the brain cells. But according to yoga and spiritual lore, as has been developed in this country, we understand that mind is a conglomeration of thoughts. It's an assemblage of thoughts and thoughts and thoughts. And these thoughts could be manifest or unmanifest. As it happens in the wakeful and dream stages, the thinking goes on consciously or at the subconscious level, and there are dualities and multiplicities and diversities of thoughts. But then, in Sushupti, in the deep sleep, or whether it is in the unconscious stage or the hypnotic stage, the mind is not working, but it is in the unmanifest phase. It is in the seed form. And Patanjali is very clear in defining Chitta, the mind, as consisting of all these dimensions of mind. And in these dimensions, as he mentions in the sutra, Pramana, Viparyaya, Vikalpa, Nidra, Smrutayaha, even the memory store, consisting of all our samskaras, tendencies, knots, blocks, obsessions, phobias, and whatnot, everything that is there in the superconscious and the subconscious mind, all included in the definition of Chitta, or the mind defined by Patanjali. So Pramana, the direct knowledge, the Viparyaya, the improper knowledge, and we have Vikalpa, just the distractions of the random mind with no substance, Nidra, the deep sleep, and Smrutaya, the entire memory store. Therefore, when we talk about controlling the mind, mastering the mind, in the Sutra of Patanjali Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha, he has been very clear that not only our distractions of the mind should go away, not only you must have mastery over the manifest thoughts and the mind, but also on the unmanifest dimensions of the mind. And only then there is going to be total mastery and total stoppage of the mind, and which leads us to our causal state. Tada drashtuhu swarupe avasthanam, he says. Therefore, the concept of mind is far comprehensive than the present understanding that we have today in science. The second, sound. Sound, according to modern science and physics, is nothing but vibrations. The vibrations that travel through compressions and rarefactions in a medium. The medium could be air, the medium could be hydrogen, oxygen, anything. And this medium is very necessary for the travel of the sound. If the medium is not there, then the sound will not travel. The famous bell jar experiment. With the air in, the sound is heard outside. With the air evacuated from the jar, you don't hear the sound. Therefore, it is the audibility, it is the medium that is necessary for sound. Without the medium, the sound is not heard, is not traveling. That is the concept of sound or shabda in modern science. But in yoga and spiritual lore, the concept of shabda is given as a character or a quality of space. Shabda gudakam akasham. It is mere spanda, it is mere vibrations. And it can travel with a medium or without a medium. When it travels with a medium, it is equivalent to the sound that we hear, the sound definition of science. That is called as the ahata shabda. But once it goes through no medium, just space, even through the states of vacuum, it can move, just as electromagnetic radiations move. All that can be included in the definition of shabda or the sound as defined in yoga and spiritual lore. So it is merely vibrations, movements, waves, compressions and rarefactions in the ahata phase, and in the anahata phase, it could be all electromagnetic radiations, and it could be mental waves, it could be waves of thinking, and all that included in the sound. And then the third phenomenon, resonance. Resonance occurs when two waves of sound match in frequency and in phase. Then there's going to be an increase in amplitude. The two waves going in phase, starting at the same time and with the same frequency, the same amplitude, then there's going to be double of the amplitude. They match together. It's something like matching. The phenomenon of resonance was found first in Britain when a group of army officials and Jawans were marching across a bridge, and as they reached the end of the bridge oscillated and collapsed down. No typhoon, no floods, nothing whatsoever, and they were all surprised and amazed as to why the bridge broke down. A group of scientists were put into operation, and soon they found, with intense effort, the phenomenon of resonance. When they marched across the bridge, the frequency of march matched with the natural frequency of the bridge, and the bridge started oscillating, went into resonance, and it collapsed. Therefore, the rule, break the steps as you march across a bridge. The phenomenon of resonance is very well understood today in modern physics, and the harmonics of sound waves can generate not only resonance, but the higher harmonics, higher resonance, and then build what is called as flutter. It can just bring about tremendous movements and sort of oscillations. This was found in aeronautics when the airplanes and the wings of the aircrafts went into flutter with the harmonics resonating. Different parts of the wings separately oscillate and went into resonance. That is the flutter. And what is the concept of resonance in yoga and spiritual lore? This is essentially called as the tuning. It is the shruti. A tambura, a veena, and you go on doing the shruti, pluck the string, and the whole tambura, a veena beautifully resonates. The concept of resonance was very well known to our seers, and you have to match your frequency. When you match your frequency with anybody else, then there is going to be resonance that takes place. So therefore we have mind, sound and resonance, and the mind, sound, resonance technique essentially works on bringing resonance at the body level by using the mental sound. When we have Brahmari or we have a chant of a A, O or Ma or any sound, you may generate sound at the physical body level by the loud sound, by the Ahata Shabda. You can feel the resonance and the vibrations throughout the body. That's fine, that's resonance. But when you repeat the same sound in the mind, can you generate the resonance in the body level? And that is what MSRT hints at. Why should one at all get to this resonance in the mental sound? To produce this resonance at the body level by the mental sound, you have to relax tremendously, and you have to develop high sensitivity, and you have to grow to higher level of consciousness. And the whole MSRT helps us to move from one level of consciousness to higher by increasing the sensitivity level and the expansion level. The depth of perception and expansion of awareness, as we have been seeing in the cyclic meditation, is the core. You increase the sensitivity and you relax more and more you relax, greater the sensitivity and greater expansion, then there is going to be the feeling and the wonderful experience of that resonance in the body by repeating the sound in the mind. Therefore, initially in MSRT we use A, U, Ma and the combination of these sounds to generate resonance at the body level by chanting them loudly, Ahata Shabda. But as we progress, as we go to the next step, we repeat the same sound loudly and then in the mind, Ahata and then Anahata, and produce the same resonant wave throughout the body. And once we start training ourselves by using the fundamental sounds A, U, Ma and generate resonance in the body, then we go to the patterns of resonance through the mantras. Mantras are the wonderful combinations, the special patterns of resonance that are produced by special combinations of the sounds, words and letters. Mantras form the fundamental dimensions of the Tantra Shastra, yet another science almost equivalent to the yoga. And in the Mantra Shastra, you start using different mantras. And each mantra has two dimensions. One is its exoteric dimension, another is the esoteric dimension. The exoteric is the effect that produces at the external level. While there are certain things which go on at a very subtle level, at the deeper level, and that is the esoteric dimensions, which are unseen generally for the normal gross things. Something happens at the subtler levels. For example, when you go on repeating the mantras loudly, it will produce resonance in the body level, and it will produce deep relaxation maybe, or it may energize the body, and different effects of different mantras are available. But the esoteric dimension of the mantras are much deeper. It works at the pranic level, probably at the mental level and at the buddhi level, bringing about great transformations. And every mantra that has been knit or discovered or invented by our ancient Maharshis have different effects. And the Mantra Shastra has been used very effectively in the Vedic rites and rituals. In the yagnas, havanas, homas and all that, the mantras have been used. And when we use a particular mantra, it has to be chanted properly. It has to be produced with the accuracy that has been prescribed there. Without that, the mantras will not give the desired effect. And particularly when these things are used in the Agnihotra or the Purva Mimamsa dimension, even the opposite effect may start coming. Yasyagnihotra madarsham apurnamasam achaturgnasya managrayanam atithi varjitancha. When it is done wrongly with adarsha, apurnamasa, anagrayana, atithi varjitam, all the prescribed do's and don'ts, you don't do the things rightly at the right time and at the proper prescribed time, and then you don't do the atithi satkara and so on and so forth, then aloka mastasya lokan hinasti. That 7 lokas, 7 generation, it may have the deteriorating effect. Therefore, it has got the boomerang effect also. It has to be done properly, the mantras. And the inner esoteric dimensions of the mantras are understood by the great seers, by the great yoga masters, great tantric, excellent masters. Now, for example, the esoteric dimension of the Lalita Sahasranama and Vishnu Sahasranama could be quite different. In one of the well-known organizations, Lalita Sahasranama was used for a long time, and continuous chanting of Lalita Sahasranama brought about the stimulations in terms of increased sexual activities, increased anger, increased irritability, and some people started suffering from hypertension, little heart trouble, and so on and so forth. So the Swamiji in charge there, then he realized that there is something happening with this mantra, and they switched over to Vishnu Sahasranama and found all the problems started getting reduced. There is calming effect. So every mantra has its own effect. And Lalita Sahasranama, if it is in the process of invoking and stimulating and developing the Kundalini Shaktis, the Vishnu Sahasranama is cooling and calming down of the mind and pacifying the mind, and that is the Vishnu Sahasranama. And the smallest of the mantras is the Omkara. And we have a very powerful and very useful mantra, which is called the Mahamrutyunjaya mantra, with particular applications of this MSRT in mind to cancer and AIDS patients. One of the major blocks in these patients is one of anxiety, fear, particularly the fear. To overcome fear, this Mrutyunjaya Mahamrutyunjaya mantra is an extremely useful one. Om Trayambakam Vyajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanat Mrutyor Mukshiyamamrutat. We offer our salutations to the three-eyed Shiva, Trayambakam Vyajamahe. Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam, to spread the fragrance, to increase the vitality, and to release us from the bondage of this mortality, and to raise us to that freedom and that immortality. Just as a cucumber, when it is ripe, it just comes out of the creeper without any effort. Effortlessly it comes down. Urvarukamiva bandhanat. Mrutyoho mukshiyamamrutat. And that is the prayer to Lord Shiva. And by repeating this mantra, gradually the fear gets vanished. And the patients start gaining confidence. Therefore, we have chosen this Mahamrutyunjaya mantra as the key mantra, which we repeat loudly initially and generate the patterns of resonance, and later on we repeat that in the mind to generate the same pattern of resonant vibrations in the body. Once we start doing that, we start going to deeper and deeper layers of consciousness, and things will start moving, and then we start progressing. The entire sound dimension of the mind is being utilized in this whole practice, in mind-sound resonance technique. And in the end, we allow this vibration to spread, expand and diffuse into that silence, that all-pervasive reality. And we can feel the vibration spreading and spreading and spreading and diffusing into that complete infinite silence. And that infinite silence is the abode of all knowledge, creativity, freedom and bliss. And to stay in that silence, and in that silence to invoke the resolve. The resolve is a positive thought that we have chosen. Every patient can have their own thought, can have their own words formulated, that I am extremely healthy. For example, the entire immune system I have is extremely strong. I am very, very light and energized. I am full with health and vitality. People could choose any thought that they want. And repeat that thought, repeat those words in the mind clearly, and with the bottom of the heart, with the total faith. Ultimately, what we are is what we think we are. If we have very positive thought, then the whole transformation takes place and you are extremely positive. If on the other hand you always start thinking negatively and very critically and say, I am useless, I am weak, I have no energy, I have no faith, and you start becoming weaker and weaker and then petty and small. That's the whole process. Mind is the maker of its own destiny. Manayeva manushyanam karanam bandhamokshayo. That's the basic philosophy for this resolve. Choose a positive thought and repeat it. Repeat it 9 times. From the bottom of the heart, with the fullest faith, with total sincerity. And slowly the thought gets fructified. And the type of positive thought that you have taken, if it is nearer home, it works soon. If it is far home, it takes a long time. If you take a very, very ambitious positive thought that I am Atman, I am Atman, I am Atman, well, it may take maybe years, it may take generations. But on the other hand, if you say that today I am going to be extremely happy throughout the day, yes, it will start fructifying right away. If you feel that throughout the day I am going to be very relaxed, very comfortable, yes, it may start working. So therefore, choose a thought, choose a resolve which is nearer home. Just a step further from where we stand today. Then it starts working, and as it starts working, the growth starts coming, and the faith develops, and slowly you start going to higher and higher resolves. You can do that. But unless the first resolve is not completed, do not change your resolve, continue the same resolve. And at the end of the resolve, repeated 9 times, we go into the prayer to offer all our growth and our energy to the welfare of the whole world. And that has been the ideals of this country. Sarve bhavantu sukhina, let all people be happy. Sarve santu niramayaha, let nobody suffer from pain and misery and the dukkha. And let everybody progress. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu, realize the truth, reach ultimate reality. And for the peace and peace and peace of the whole universe, and particularly our country, we start working on that. So we end that thing by the chant. Therefore, on the other side, we now give the instructions of the entire practice, and you are welcome to look into these cassettes and put it on and then practice. And any problems you have, you are most welcome to contact us at Prashanti Kutiram, where we run the courses and also we train the people. And wish you all the best. Thank you. Resonance technique, MSRT. This is one of the advanced techniques that we have been using in Vivekananda Kendra, Yoga Research Foundation, to deal with all the 5 koshas, the 5 layers of our existence, call it 5 bodies,